Okay, now we're going to solve absolute value inequalities. So these are going to have less than and greater thans with it. So take a minute to pause the video and copy this down. And before we start, let's also just put a little note up here. If it's got one of these, it's an open circle. And if it's got one of these with the equals with it, it's going to be our closed circle. So let's just remember these two things that we talked about before. All right, so step 1, get it alone. Now step 2 says check if it would be all reals or no solution. So what I want you to do at this point is think, okay, is this a positive? If this is positive, the absolute value is by itself. If this gives me a positive number, is every positive number greater than 24? No, because number 1, it's positive and it's not greater. So it's not all real numbers, but I could come up with positive numbers that are greater. 25, 26, 27, some of them are. So this one doesn't apply. I checked it and it's okay, but I don't have to do anything about it. I'll show you how that works. Now write it as 2 equations. And here's the only thing I have to do is when I put the negative one on here, I need to flip the sign. So this one, instead of pointing to the right, is going to point to the left. Now I just solve these like we did before. I'm going to do all of them at once because I'm fancy. And then our last step is graph. Again, you don't have to put every little thing there. I'm just going to put positive 4 and negative 4. And then I'm going to come in here, I'm going to use open circles because this one did not have an equal sign with it. This one says on the 4 it's going to go this way, and on the negative 4 it's going to go this way. And I can leave it like that, and I'm done. All right, number 2. All right, step 1, get the absolute value alone. So I'm going to minus my 13. So this cancels. This is 6. And this, notice I've got this minus with it still, so I have to bring that down. Now to get rid of this negative, I'm going to divide by a negative 1. And then what's the other thing I have to remember when I divide by a negative 1? I have to flip the sign. So this becomes a positive. This flips. And this becomes negative 6. Now step 2 says check for real numbers or no solution. So here I have a positive is greater than a negative. Well, when is a positive going to be greater than a negative? Well, that's always. If it's an always true, then the answer is all real numbers. Or if I wanted to write it the other way, I could write it like this. Negative infinity to infinity. All right. Number 3. All right, I've got the absolute value alone. I'm going to check if it's real or all real or no solution. This is a positive is less than 12. Is positive numbers always less than 12? Well, no, like 13 is a positive number, 14. Those aren't true. So sometimes it is and sometimes it's not. So I have to work it out. So anytime it's sometimes, you have to work it out. So here we go. So next step, write it as 2 equations. 2x minus 8 is less than 12. 2x minus 8 is greater than 12. Remember to flip your sign when you switch the sign here. So I'm going to get 2, we're in plus 8, plus 8, plus 8, plus 8. Cancel, cancel. 2x less than 20. 2x greater than negative 4. Divide by 2. X is less than 10. X is greater than negative 2. Graph. Here's 10, here's 0, here's negative 2. I don't have to put in every little thing here, but 10 is a lot farther than 2, so I made that kind of look right. Now on this one it says the 10, it goes at 10 and it goes this way, and it goes from the 2 and it goes this way, and I know it's not all real numbers because I checked it already. And it's only sometimes true. It's only sometimes true here where it overlaps. So I need to rewrite this one. Up here, it had 2 parts, so I could leave it as 2 answers. Here, there's just 1 part, so I need to rewrite it as 1 part. And I just copy these numbers down. It's actually really easy. I just copy these numbers down, put in my little arrows always going that way toward the little one, and put the X in the middle. I don't need to add the equals parts here because my original problem didn't have it. All right, let's do number 4. Number 4 is the absolute value of 18x is less than negative 36. My absolute value is already alone, and now I'm going to check if it's all reals or no solution. Well, here I have a positive is less than a negative. When is that going to happen? Well, positive is never greater than a negative. If it's never true, then my answer is no solution. So if my answer was always true, it's all real numbers, and if it's never true, it's no solution.